Hello everybody, this is Operation Honor Talk Show. I am Ken Avery. This gentleman next to me is Mr. Dan Miller.
Good evening.
You're probably wondering where Michael Tellerino is. Well, he's a little under the weather today, so us two are gonna have a little fun with y'all. I'd like to start out with thanking everybody for attending the gala over in Bolingbrook last weekend. It was fantastic. I'd like to thank all the sponsors, everybody who attended, but a big shout out to Hugo Gonzalez, who pretty much set this thing up all by himself, busted his butt, and put on one heck of a show for us. It was fantastic. So everybody, thank you very, very much. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about a few things. Mainly, let's start off with K9s For Veterans. Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. And, once again, Hugo, thank you. I attended the gala. It was amazing. K9s For Veterans, the purpose of K9s For Veterans is to provide trained service dogs to veterans and first responders that suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injuries. The process, it's not hard, but if you go to our website, which is K9sSD.org, that's K9sSD.org, and you get on the website, you'll see that there's a drop-down menu where there's an application. If you're a veteran or a first responder and you're interested in getting a service dog, the first step is to fill out that application. Within that application, you're going to see that there's a requirement that you will send a copy of your DD-214 in. And a note to that, when you send in your DD-214, please redact your full Social Security number. You can leave the last four on there, but take a pen or something and mark out those first numbers on your Social Security number so that you're not sending that document over an unsecured means. We want to keep your privacy as much as possible. Also, you're going to notice that there's a letter on there that you're going to need to get from your physician. And that letter is basically stating that you have been or are being treated for post-traumatic stress disorder or a traumatic brain injury. And the reason we need that letter is because when you're getting that dog, and we're giving you that dog to train with, it takes about 2 years of training before you'll graduate and the dog gets vested. We want to make sure that the veteran or the first responder is in a good headspace to have that animal. 22 veterans a day end their lives. That's what the Department of Defense says.
We think it's a little bit higher.
Yeah, and I think one is too many, as I'm sure everyone would agree. I'd love it to be zero. But we want to make sure that you're in a good space to start that training and go through it with the dog so that everyone's comfortable, you guys can bond, and you can have a good time working with your canine and becoming best buddies, and then having that dog for the rest of the dog's life around you to help you deal with the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. Once again, it's K9sSD.org. It's not a hard process. We have multiple classes throughout the week. We have 2 training centers, one in Chicago and one out in Joliet. We are very flexible, and our trainers are just incredible people. They work with you. They have an utmost amount of patience, and we want everyone to graduate at the end of the day with a well-trained service dog, because we know that dog is going to help you on a daily basis.
We have a little over 250 dogs in the program, or who have been through our program. So a lot of people don't realize what we do is you're going to sit down with our trainers and figure out what kind of dog you need. Not everybody wants a Shepherd or a Belgian. We have Italian Whippets, miniature Italian Greyhounds, all the way up to Cane Corsos. It all is what you need. One of the other requirements is if you have another pet in the house, them dogs or cat and dog have to get along. Wife and kids have to get along. So it's a few days before you get the puppy. But it all depends on what size and what's best for you. We feed the dog for the life of the dog. Okay, for the life of the dog, that dog gets free food. And it gets free general veterinarian. And there are some exceptions occasionally, but we don't want no money coming out of the veteran or the first responder's pocket. That's what we're all about. And like Dan was saying, it's a 2-year program. Unless you got my dog, then it's on a 4-year program. But, it's what you put into it. And the best part is you're going to meet people who've been in the same places you were in, and you become friends. It's a lot of camaraderie. And, you enjoy yourself. And we're going to show you how to do it because most of the training you're going to do. And so we guide you through this, show you how to do this, and then you come. And it's just what you put into it, the faster your dog becomes a service dog.
Absolutely. And, one thing I overlooked, and Kenny mentioned it, it's free. There's no charge for this to sign up. The dog, the training, the food, the medical. As a veteran myself, and Kenny's a veteran, we understand that free is a great thing, and it helps out the veterans that might not otherwise be able to get a dog because it's expensive to train a dog. But, that's why we're a nonprofit. That's why we do what we do. That's why there's so many generous, wonderful people out there that, that are helping us. The sponsors that helped us with the gala, incredible. They help us all year round with different projects for canines, and that allows us to do what we're doing. I've had my dog Rocky, and one of these days I'm going to bring him on the show.
Yeah.
I've had Rocky now for 5 years, and I suffer from PTSD. I suffered a moderate traumatic brain injury from multiple deployments in Iraq, and I had to learn to deal with that. And Kenny's had his experiences, and I'll tell you, I've met so many wonderful veterans, males and females, going through the program. And just when you're done training for the 2 years, the training doesn't stop. I still go to training with Rocky. It's like anything that if you don't continue to do it, you lose it. And I continue to train. I go to the training centers. Rocky, needs refreshers. I need refreshers all the time. But it's changed my life for the better in every way, shape, or form. Not just as a veteran, but as a human being. And I've met veterans with families, and it has redirected the family to a better place as well. So it's a win-win situation. If you're interested, once again, I know I said it twice already, but once again, K9sSD.org. Get on there, take a look, reach out. If you want to come into the training center and take a look around, it's got the addresses for both of them in Joliet and Chicago. You can walk in, and take a look at the training once you've called and find out, when the class is, and to come in, take a look around, talk to some people, learn a little bit about it, and you might find that, hey, this is for me, and this is going to help me, and that's what we're here to do.
That's what we're here to do. 250 dogs, we've never lost anybody to suicide. So, like Michael Tellerino says, we don't know who saves who.
Yeah.
And also, it's a game changer.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about Hugo again and his partner in crime, Alex. We have a 5K for the Forgotten Warrior Memorial coming up this Saturday. I think registration is closed, but you can show up there. It's out at Shanahan State National Park. Yeah, Shanahan State National Park. It's off of Route 6. And it's a little west. You take 55 and it's west, maybe 4 or 5 miles. There's signs all the way there, Forgotten Warrior Memorial. And it's a 3K or 5K. It's on the I&M Canal, so it's really nice scenery when you're out there running and everything. The first 300 people that come in receive a medal. I'm not sure how the prizes go, so you'll find out when you come out there and everything. But Hugo and Alex, this is another one of theirs. Dan's involved in this one too, so go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kenny. As Kenny said, it's at Channahon State Park in Channahon, Illinois. If you go to the Facebook, actually, I'm going to back up for a minute. Facebook for K9s. If you type in K9s for Veterans on Facebook, you're going to find our Facebook page. Join, follow, all kinds of good information on K9s for Veterans on that page. And then if you go on Facebook again and you type in the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, you're going to go to the site and you'll get to see the memorial itself. It's out there at Channahon State Park. It's a creation of Michael Tellerino with a lot of love. Same thing with K9s, and all the people that work for K9s and volunteer for K9s. We wouldn't exist if it was not for those folks. Same thing with the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. Hugo is just a rock star. He does so much work and he works so hard, but he's not the only one. Everybody works hard at K9s. Everybody works hard at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. And this run, this Saturday, it starts at 10 o'clock. It's a 5K walk or run, depending on, how you feel that day.
Or if you're like me, you just turn the key in the ignition and just drive it.
Yeah, you could do that. Well, I wouldn't drive on the course. I wouldn't. That would be a bad thing. Or if you're like me, I'm probably just going to stroll the whole thing. But regardless, as Kenny said, the first 300, there's medals. There's also going to be recognition pins by age. We're going to have food vendors there. There's going to be food trucks. There's also going to be different organizations there with information for veterans. So, if you come on out there, it's not just a 5K walk and run. You have an opportunity to talk to some different vendors and learn some different things as a veteran or as a family member of a veteran or just as a citizen that wants to learn something. These people are out there to spread information to help the veteran community and the families of veterans. Everybody gets a T-shirt that's running. And the cool thing about that is on the back of the T-shirt, there's an open space where if you're going to run for somebody, right now the Forgotten Warrior Memorial has 96 names on the wall. And, unfortunately, the memorial exists for those veterans, those warriors that lost the battle against post-traumatic stress disorder and
Committed suicide.
Ended their life through suicide. Yeah. It's tough for me because I've lost, I couldn't tell you how many of my brother Marines that ended their lives, and I wish I'd do anything in the world to bring them back. And I'm sure that, anybody would feel the same way that's dealt with someone that's ended their life in that manner. But, this is a day to not just run or walk, but this is a day to honor those individuals. And on the back of that shirt, you can write in a name of someone that you care about that might have ended their life, or someone that did it that might not even be a family member. But it's a way to honor that individual because, there's a lot of stigma that goes with suicide, and I understand that. But they're learning through science, they're learning through medicine and psychology that, it's not always a negative thing in the sense that people do it for different reasons, and we're really not ever going to know why exactly, but it doesn't mean that the person was bad. It doesn't mean that the person was defective or anything like that. It's something that happens, and we're doing the best we can to battle it. But you can come out and put that name on there and honor that individual. And along the same lines, this June 6th of 2026, and we do this 2 times a year every year, we're going to have the memorial service out there at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. This year, we're going to have the first one on June 6th. It starts at 1 p.m. We do ask if you want to come out to get there around 12:30 because we start promptly at 1 o'clock. It is an incredible ceremony. We're going to have 13 families from across the country coming out there, and we're going to honor their loved ones for their service to this country. They raised their hands and they swore to defend the country against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. They swore that oath. They signed that blank check, and they did the best they could. And so they should be honored just as much as anyone else. And so if you have the opportunity, go to the Forgotten Warrior Memorial Facebook page, take a look at it, and you'll have all the information you need on that event, June 6th, 2026, promptly at 1 o'clock, we will start. And I don't want to get too much into what happens at the memorial service, but I do that because I want you to come out and see what happens at the memorial service. Everyone I've ever talked to that's been to it, and I've been to many of them, they walk away with a new understanding, a better understanding of what these families go through, and a new respect for these families that they might not have had before they went and saw this ceremony.
For the people who've never been there, we have these stone pillars, and on these pillars is each branch of the military: Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Army. So whatever branch, that male or female, we put them on that pillar itself. It's all etched in granite, right?
Correct.
Granite. It's beautiful. And when you're looking at it, you're looking at a waterfall and all the greenery behind it and the rivers running through there. It's very, very peaceful out there. It also gives the family closure, a little bit more closure. It's somewhere for them to come out and, talk and just relax and just enjoy. And that's the beauty part about it. Like I said, don't want to get into too much. The problem with PTSD and what Dan and I go through, and a lot of our friends and all the veterans out there, and not just veterans, first responders, doctors and nurses. It's hard. And you have programs out there and everything, but here's the part that we need to get a little bit better at. We need to start helping these families out, because sometimes they think they failed and they didn't. So, this is a way of getting the word out through the memorial to people going, hey, it's just not one person that was affected. It was a whole family that was affected. And I do a lot behind the scenes there. Dan does a lot in front of everybody and everything. Come on out. And we have a couple guest speakers and everything. And it doesn't take long, an hour and a half.
If that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to put it into words. That's why I say come out and see this event.
Right. Yeah.
There's a picnic afterwards for the families, and the reason we do that is so that I've learned through talking to all these families and from my own personal experiences that a lot of times they don't have a lot of connections. And that's where we go into helping the families. We allow them to get together afterwards and meet other people. And there's been times when people have come out to that memorial and they don't know anyone. They're not directly connected, but they care. And they come out and they meet the families, and the families start talking about their loved ones, their sons or their daughters, or their husbands or their wives, whatever the relationship is. And you can see them brighten up a little bit because someone's interested in their loved one, and they want to tell a story. They want to talk about that person, and not what happened, but who they were and how they lived and what they did. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's what matters to the families and to those individuals. And I think to anybody, it's what you do in life and how you do it that matters, and how you're remembered is what matters. And going and doing these ceremonies, it does take a toll a little bit, but it's a good toll because it reminds me of our mission at K9s, our mission at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, to help veterans, to help their family members, to try and reduce that number of people that are ending their life through suicide. And I'm so proud of that number earlier. You had mentioned it, and I've heard it many a times, over 200 dogs and veterans trained, and we haven't lost a single one. And I'm proud to say I'm one of those individuals, that have a dog, and Kenny as well.
I have two. I have two service dogs, and believe me, they know when our dogs know when we're not right, and they give you that little paw, and they give you that little nudge, and they and they make you smile.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about it. Dogs, unconditional love. unconditional love. Even if you get mad at them, they still love you to death. And that's why we love K9. And, I get to see things that, I get to stand back and watch these. They'll come in, they're hesitant. Is this really for me?
Yeah.
Do
yeah.
I want to do this? And then 3 months later, they're all standing around in a circle and they're talking and they're laughing, and I tell them, look, that's part of training. Your dog is training off of this because a service dog has to be able to release. So say something happens to me and I have my dog with, that dog has to release. So dad could walk up, take my puppy, and walk away with it, and everything's going to be fine. And that's part of training.
Right.
So when we're all standing around, just talking like we do in the military, the dogs know what we're doing, and everybody works out fine and everything. Like I said, our trainers are fantastic.
And I had a trivia question that I wanted to answer for the folks out there. Someone asked me this a few days ago. I've flown with Rocky, and a lot of people ask me, well, I have a service dog, or I'm thinking about getting one, but I fly a lot, I travel a lot. How does that work? And, it's real simple. You go through the FAA, TSA, and they handle it. And just to let everybody know, I have a 120-pound King Shepherd, and no, he does not sit in the seat next to me, ordering food and sodas while we're flying. Through the training, through K9s, he knows where to lay in front of me underneath the seat there, and he's quiet, and he's a well-trained service dog, and that's what we provide, a well-trained service dog for that veteran. And we're going to continue to do that as long as we possibly can. Same thing with the Forgotten Warrior Memorial. That is not going anywhere.
No.
We are going to continue to build on that. We're going to continue to offer that to families across the country. If you have a loved one and that individual, unfortunately, the life was ended through suicide, I'm going to leave with this. I was taught this in the Marine Corps, and I say it all the time. You are never truly forgotten until your name is spoken for the final time. And what we do is we make sure at the ceremony that we recite every single name on those pillars so that the individual, the warrior, the man, the woman, is never going to be forgotten. And we will never forget them at the Forgotten Warrior Memorial, so that the families know that their names will always be recited when we do our ceremonies. And with K9s, we always make sure that we provide excellent service, excellent training, no cost, and we want to make sure that we are helping our nation's warriors because they deserve it. They signed that check, they've done their jobs, and they deserve it. Same thing with first responders, and it doesn't just help the veteran or the first responder, it helps their families as well.
One more thing about K9 too. Most dogs, the average lifespan, I don't mean to be mean here, about 10 years, some longer. But if your dog retires, the dog still gets all the bennies, and we get you another service dog, and you start the whole program over again. So you will always have a service dog next to your side. And that's the beauty part about what we do. It's all free. All free. So nothing's coming out of your pocket. So if you know anybody, firefighter, police officer, doctor, nurse, veteran, get on our website, K9forveterans.org, fill out that JOT form, fill out that application, and we get right on it right then and there. And we're a little backlogged right now, but it's only like 4 or 5 days. But we will get a hold of you, and we will take care of you and get the ball rolling for everybody.
Absolutely. I can't say this enough either. We're a nonprofit. Both are nonprofits, the Forgotten Warrior Memorial as well as K9s For Veterans, and we rely on the love and generosity of
donations.
And it's amazing what people, I've watched people come and drop off bags of dog food. I've watched people present, $1,000 checks, and it comes from the heart, and you can tell it comes from the heart. But that's what keeps the wheel rolling. That's what keeps us being able to do what we do.
Oh, one more thing too. We have a store over in the Promenade, over in Bolingbrook, K9 For Veterans store. And this Friday and Saturday is going to be the last day for the super sale over at the Promenade. Everything must go. And I think that's between Friday 11 to 6, Saturday 11 to 6. So if you're out in the Bolingbrook area, swing by the Promenade and you'll find us. And come on in and see what you can do.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, thank you. Everybody have a good night. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Take care.
Take care.